Hello, today I'm going to be building a gaming PC, and I'll be showing you how I'm doing it too. So this is our motherboard, this is the CPU socket, this is the RAM slots, this is the PCIe slots for the graphics card slots in, this is the I/O, where you plug your mouse and keyboard and audio ports into. These are your front panel headers, these are your hard drive connectors, your 24-pin power that powers the motherboard, your 4-pin power that powers the CPU. And so let me show you how I install the CPU. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your CPU that looks like this. Wait, let me see, let me get a better shot of that. You guys see that? Right there, there's a gold notch on the bottom, and you're gonna align it with the gold notch on the motherboard. So, give me 1 second. There we go, let's point some light over there. And then we're gonna take our CPU, and we're gonna plug it into the slot on the motherboard. Let me just make sure I didn't bend any of the pins. Alright, so we're gonna leave it into the slot like that. And then you're gonna push down the retention bracket until it's plopped in. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our memory sticks, memory that looks like this. It has a notch on the bottom, and you're gonna align it with the notch, on the motherboard. So you're gonna take these two on each side. You're gonna take these down, and you're going to align it with the notch on the RAM stick, and align it with on the board. So then it goes like that, and then you push down, and you're gonna hear a click, like that. And then let me do it for the other one too. So what we have for our parts, we have 16 gigs of DDR3 RAM, an i7 4790K, GTX 1650, and a 256 gig Samsung SSD, Intel stock cooler, USB 2.0 hub for the motherboard, and we have an Asus H81 MCSM motherboard, micro ATX. And for our power supply, we have just a normal 500 watt power supply. Okay, so now we're gonna take our CPU cooler. It looks like this, and we're going to align it with these four, let me show you, these 4 holes on each side, so like a square pattern. So let me show you guys. Okay, so you're gonna take the cooler and align those 4 holes with the ones on the motherboard. So let me show you. So like this, and you're gonna push it down, make sure it's in the hole until you hear that snapping sound. And then do it like on each side. And yeah, so let me just do it on all sides. There we go, I did it on all sides. So it's in place now. And you're going to take your fan header, it looks like this, and plug it into the CPU fan header on the motherboard. This cools your CPU down from preventing it from overheating. Okay, so now it's time to move on to the case. We just have a regular micro ATX Cougar case here. So I'm gonna undo the back panel screw, and I'm going to open it up, and I will show you guys the inside. So let me see if I can get a better shot of that. Okay, so we got our CD drive right here, our hard drive base, and then our motherboard goes in right here. But first, I'm going to put in the power supply. So you want your power supply fan to be facing where the components are, so it pulls out the hot air and exhausts out the back of the power supply. So I'm going to show you that. You're just going to put it in like so, and then you're going to there's 4 screw mounts at the back. I only like to use 2 in a diagonal form, so it keeps it in place. So then let me show you guys. I'm gonna screw it in. I have my screwdriver right here, and I'm going to screw it in now. There we go. Now it's in. I'm gonna do the other side. Let me get a different screw. All right. There we go. So now it's in. So now we're gonna take our motherboard right here, and we're gonna plug it into the case. I'm gonna put it into the case. So we have, this is the I/O shield that prevents the dust and bugs from getting in your computer. So you're gonna line it in the back slot right here. And then yeah, you're just gonna push it in until you hear that clicking sound, and it should be good. And now you're gonna take your motherboard, like so, and you're gonna plug it into the board, into the case. And you want it to be aligned with the motherboard standoff screws on in the case. Let me fix this fast. There we go. Now it's in, and you're gonna take your screws that look like this. Let's see if you guys can see it like that. And you're gonna take your screwdriver and screw them in all of the holes on the case. Okay, so let's do it. There's one. There's 2. And then for number 3. There we go. Alright, so now I'm gonna connect the 24 pin connector into the motherboard. Let's see. Into the motherboard right here. Right there. Alright, so I'm gonna take the connector from the power supply, and I'm gonna plug it into it like so. And now it's in. And now I'm gonna take the 4-pin CPU power connector, and I'm gonna plug it in to the motherboard. Just give me a second while I do that. Alright, so that's in. And we're almost done with the computer. So next I'm going to install the USB front panel headers that are in the front of the computer. I want to plug it into place. Alright, let's just plug that into place. There we go, now it's in. And I'm going to take my front panel connectors. That's our power switch, reset switch, hard drive LEDs, and power LEDs. So I'm going to plug that into the slots on the motherboard. There we go. And then I'm going to get the HD audio that connects our audio ports to the front of our motherboard, front of our case. It looks like this, and you're gonna align it. Let's see if we can get a shot of that. Give me 1 second. There we go. So we got a better shot of it now. So then our audio port looks like, our audio connector looks like this. And we're going to plug it in down here. And we're going to take it and align it with the slot and then plug it in like so. Now it's in. Okay, so next it's time to move on to our SSD. An SSD is short for solid state drive. It's currently the fastest type of storage solution on the market right now. This is a SATA SSD. There's NVMe SSDs that are like this big, or like kind of smaller, that slot into a slot on your motherboard. But I like these ones. They're pretty cheap and affordable. And so I'm gonna take my power SATA connector that looks like this. I'm gonna plug it into the SSD, and I'm going to take my SATA data cable that looks like this, plug it into there, and then plug it into the port on the motherboard. So now it's all set up. That's what the SSD is. Just tuck it out of the way underneath the parts of the computer. And now we're gonna install the graphics card. So a graphics card it's the thing that allows you to play the games on your computer. So it has the what do you call it? The ports on the back to connect to your monitors. So we have 2 display ports and 1 HDMI. And we're gonna take that and we're gonna plug it into this slot right here. This is called the PCIe slot. And we're gonna take this connector. That looks like, let's see, it looks like that. And we're gonna plug it right in there. Give me 1 second. Rearrange this. And I'll show you when I have it plugged in. Okay, so now we got it plugged in. And then you screw it in right down there. Okay, so now I'm gonna install the USB 2 card. I'm actually gonna I'm gonna install that right now. Let's see. There we go. Oops. There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna plug it into the slot. Right down. Let me show you. Alright, so now it's plugged into place. And we're gonna take our 2 screws. Let's see. 2 screws, and then we're gonna screw it in the accessories, the graphics card and the USB 2 thing. Alright. Plug that in. There's 1. And then that's 2. Alright, so now we're going to install our case fan. The case fan allows it so the air passes through your computer so your components don't overheat. And now I'm going to install it into the computer right now. So there's 4 screws on the back you need to plug in. On the back of these holes right here. Oops, let's see. There we go. And then just start it off with your hand and then screw it in the rest with your screwdriver. I use a automatic screwdriver, but yeah. This one, and then let's install number 2. There we go. Okay, so then we're gonna take our fan connector that looks like this, and we're gonna plug it into the slot on the motherboard that says system fan. And then we're gonna plug it in. Let's see, is it in? It's in now. Alright, so let's just do a little bit of cable management. And then that is basically the whole computer. That's done right there. Let's get a better shot of that. There we go. So that's the computer. So this is the CPU right here, the memory sticks, the graphics card, the motherboard where everything sits on, the power supply, and the case, and then the fans. Alright, so thank you guys for watching, and have a nice day. Bye.